Greetings, Iain from RTO here. Hope you're all well on this dingy Thursday morning, and being Thursday we have got a battle of the debuts, and again it's one with a little twist. Today we're going to look at the debut albums of John Mayall and the Blues Breakers and Cream. And yes, Eric Clapton plays on both. So he was recording tracks for both albums at the same time. Very confusing. So, as usual, with Battle of the Debuts, we'll go with the first album that came out, and that will be John Mayall's Blues Breakers. It was released on the 22nd of July in 1966 by Decca Records. And playing on it is John Mayall, lead vocals, piano and Hammond organ, Eric Clapton, lead guitar and sang vocals on Ramblin On My Mind, John McVie on the bass guitar, Huey Flint on the drums, and produced by Mike Vernon. First track on this album is a cover of the Otis Rush song All Your Love. It is a great cover, great guitar work by Eric on this, and then you've got that great steady bass line from John McVie. Then we get a track called Hideaway, which is a Freddie King number. I love the bass line from John on this. It's some great drumming from Huey Flint. Fantastic little track. Then we get a track called Little Girl, written by John Mayall. Love this track again. The keyboard on this is pretty impressive from John Mayall. It's a great vocal. It's a really strong track. Really like that. Then we get a track called Another Man, another John Mayall song. Very little short track. Some great harmonica playing here from John Mayall. It's pretty good, and Eric's pretty cool on this as well. Next track, Double Crossing Time. Great blues piano here from John. Eric's guitar. We've spoke so much about Eric on this channel. Great stuff again. A great bass line from John McVie. Then we get What Do I Say? This is a Ray Charles number. Huey Flint's drumming is on this. It's quite a really good version of that song. Then we get Key to Love, solid blues number here. Great work from Eric. Just a really good track. Then we get Parchman Farm. Now this is a track that was recorded by Booker White in 1940. It's one of my favourite tracks, and it's my favourite track on this album. You got some lovely drums and harmonica on this. Great, really old blues number brought to life. Have you heard? We've got some great saxophone on this. Absolutely stonking track. Ramblin On My Mind. This is a Robert Johnson song, and Eric Clapton sings on this. Always say this, you know, Robert Johnson's songs were just done on a guitar, but everyone that gets hold of a track and covers it does a brilliant version. I mean, Eric's a big Robert Johnson fan, as we know, so it's a great track. Then we get Steppin Out, which is a Memphis Slim instrumental. Brilliant stuff. Eric is on absolute fire. Then the last track on here is It Ain't Right, which is a little Walter number. Awesome harmonica from John Mayall. Huey Flint's drumming is superb on this, and that constant great bass line from John McVie. I think you all know this is one of my favourite blues albums, where you've got John McVie on it, you've got Eric Clapton and John Mayall. Absolutely brilliant album. I love this album to death. But that's what I think. What are the critics say? Well, the album, there's not many reviews on it, but the album was a commercially successful, and most critics viewed it positively. In 2013, and 2012. Rolling Stone ranked it 195 on the list of the 500 greatest albums of all time. And it was voted number 391 in Colin Larkin's all-time top 1000 albums in the year 2000. Did well in the charts over here, got to number 6 in the album charts in 1966, which is pretty good because at that time it was lots of soundtracks and that sort of thing. Went gold as well. The critics' ratings I've got, and that's All Music gave it a 5 stars, About.com 5, the Virgin Encyclopedia of Blues 5, BBC was highly positive. Chicago Tribune gave it 4 out of 4 stars, Encyclopedia of Popular Music 5 stars, and the Penguin Guide to Blues Recordings 3 and a bit out of 4. So let's have a look at the nuts and bolts of this one. Song quality. Okay, there's some covers on here, but they are absolutely great. Can't take that away from them. And the original songs are great as well. So I'm going to give that a 4 out of 5. Production. Great production on this. Plug it in and go blues. That's what it's all about. No fancy stuff, just go and do it. So I'm going to give this an RTO production for 5 out of 5. Reception. Went down a storm. It's still one of the best selling blues albums. So that gets a 5 out of 5 as well. Cover design. That's pretty good. It's got the band on the front. You know, any band album that's got the band on the front you can relate to. So I'm going to give that a 4 out of 5. So the grand total for John Mayall's Blues Breakers is 18 out of 20. A pretty good score. But as I said, while Eric was recording that, he was also recording an album called Fresh Cream with Cream. Now this came out on the 9th of December 1966. Just at the point the I Feel Free was omitted from the British version. So we know who's in on this. It's Ginger Baker, Jack Bruce and Eric Clapton. Producer was Robert Stigwood. But I've got an American version, so I will include it. So the first track on here is I Feel Free, the classic track. Great vocals here from Jack and Eric. Ginger's on fire. Brilliant track. Eric's guitar solo on that is pretty brilliant. Then we get my favourite track, one of my favourite tracks by Cream. It's N.S.U. Just love that. Great vocal from Jack. I love Ginger's drumming on this. It's just one of them tracks that really you can get into. Then we get Sleepy Time. Great blues track. Sterling bass line here from Jack, and Eric is just brilliant on the guitar. What can you say? Dreaming. Great vocal from Jack. It's just a very short piece, really good. Sweet Wine, another classic track here from Cream. I love Eric's guitar solo on this one. Jack's thumping bass. Then we get a cover of Spoonful, the Howlin' Wolf. And they do a great version of this. Great vocal, great harmonica on it, brilliant stuff. Then we get Cat Squirrel, which is an instrumental written by Dr. Ross, of course. Great piece of blues music. Eric's just brilliant. 4 and Too Late, another Robert Johnson cover. And once again, Eric does the business. Very, very good. Rollin and Tumblin, recorded by Willie Newburn in 1929. Muddy Walters has done this. It's a great Delta blues track. Love Ginger's on this. Great stuff. Then we get So I'm Glad, classic Cream song. I just love that. And then it ends up with Toad, which is basically a virtuoso for Mr. Baker. That's pretty good. It's 5 minutes 9. I'll prefer listening to this in the live, because the live just seems to go on and on and on. It's a great track. Again, I love this album. It's one of my favourite blues albums, along with Blues Breakers. Truly amazing. These three musicians came together and made an absolute belting debut album. So, what do the critics think of this one? Well, there's not much written about it at the time, but in 2012 the album was ranked at number 102 on Rolling Stone's list of 500 great albums of all time. Uncut describes the songs all about playing in the band and relaxing, the joy of being young. Writing for the BBC, Sid Smith said the notes that blues, pop and rock magically starts when Collins create something brand new, and Stephen Thomas Erlewine of AllMusic's opinion that the album was instrumental in the birth of heavy metal and rock jam. So what are the old critics' marks? Well, AllMusic gave it a 4 out of 5. BBC Music was highly positive. Robert Christou, who usually slates things off, give it an A-. Uncut gave it 5 stars. Daily Express was positive. The 100 Best Pop Albums gave it 4.5. The Ultimate Classic Rock was positive, and Music Hound gave it a 4 out of 5. How did we do in the album chart? Again, this got to number 6 in the UK, and it got to number 39 in the USA. Went gold in Australia, United Kingdom and the States. So let's have a look at the nuts and bolts of this one. Song quality. As ever, brilliant songs. The originals are brilliant. The covers are superb. 5 out of 5. Production. Again, great production. This is 1966 and it's Plug-in and Glow Blues. Nice clear sound, and it sounds as good as it today as it did in 1966. So I'm going to give that a 5 out of 5. Reception. I think this went down rail all over the place. You know, it did well in America, did well over here, got gold certification in 3 countries. So I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5. Cover design. Of all the greatness, it's not the best cover, is it? It's okay. Yeah, you can see it's the 3, but what they're wearing just doesn't really go for it. It's a bit dark, it needs to be bright. So although it's got the band on the front and you know who they are, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. So for Fresh Cream by Cream gives us a total of 19 out of 20. I think this is the highest marked one that we've ever done. Tough one. I love these albums equally. But at a pinch, as the scores say, I'm going to go with Fresh Cream. I just think it's a brilliant album. But the thing is, for these 2 albums, both of them are my favourite blues albums, British blues albums anyway. So But do you agree with me? Well, you have disagreed with me a few times. You know the drill, just put it. The poll will go up later, and just put it in the comments below. That's all for this one. Gonna have a twist of a. We're doing a twist in December, which I'll tell you about more on the live stream tonight and as weeks come in. And today is also the penultimate album artwork ranking. And today we're going to look at those little old boys from Texas, ZZ Top. So join me for that later, and bye for now.